This Equipment World video is brought to you by Chevron Delo 600 ADF Ultra Low Ash Diesel Engine Oil. It's time to kick some ash.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Equipment World. You're watching The Dirt. I'm your host Brian, and today we're here to talk about fleet management. As we all know, the lead time on new equipment from the factory, combined with the fact that used equipment prices are through the roof, has had to make us get creative as contractors on how we manage our fleets. Here to talk with us today is Ernie Stephens, and he's going to break down how he handles it at the large scale so that we can take some of his knowledge and maybe apply it to some of our small to mid-sized companies. With a lot of the OEMs still 1 to 2 years out on their backlog, what impact has that had for you guys on your strategy when it comes to acquiring equipment?
Sure. The days of looking at, annual capex just isn't enough. You really have to have that 3 to 5 year plan. Once you get your plan in place, you have to immediately get your partners in place, the OEMs. Then you have to see what they can provide and get those timelines written down. Then you have to go to the third-party vendors, the rental houses, and you really have to supplement more so than we've ever done as well.
So are you guys having to go outside of, I'm sure like most companies, you have 1, 2, maybe even 3 kind of preferred manufacturers that you like to keep your inventory with. Has this kind of forced you to go outside of that, or are you just kind of retooling from a timing standpoint?
There was definitely a 12 or 18 month period there where people were grabbing any color, brand, even the size didn't matter. Looking for a mid-level excavator and all they have is a large, we'll take it. I think we're kind of on the decline of that and trying to get back to our favorites, but I think it was a great opportunity for everyone to get their brands out there and for us to try it. I think a lot of people were going to be surprised of how well a lot of that equipment that they didn't normally run performed. So excited to see how those trends will continue moving forward.
I will say that's been kind of huge because you've traditionally had a handful of players kind of at the top that everyone considered, if you're a professional in the industry, this is who you go with. And due to the equipment shortage, I think a lot of people have had to get outside of their comfort zone, and they're starting to discover that no, in order to compete in the equipment market in general, you can't put just garbage out on the market. There's a lot of good machines on the market that are very competitive with the big, well-known brands, if you will.
For sure. I think it always dials back to communication. You can't even estimate the job unless you're going to have the equipment for that job. If you are going to go in with the estimate and hope to win it, well, you better be talking to your partners right away, and which is something that we've been doing for the last probably 3 to 4 years. Any large projects that we have, we'll go to the OEMs right away. Say, hey, we're looking to bid this type of project in this region, just kind of forewarning you. Even if we don't win it, someone's going to win it and need that equipment. So I think having those partnerships and really relying on each other, it's helped us a lot.
So another interesting dynamic that's kind of come out of this is the used equipment market. Prices have kind of skyrocketed on that equipment. And so I guess it's a little bit of a two-part question. The first is, has that changed your strategy for offloading equipment in any way? And then secondly, do you guys find yourself acquiring used equipment rather than just brand new equipment? And has that kind of, forced your hand changing on that side of the acquisition strategy as well?
Yeah, never I've had to really buy the used market before. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to sell as much either because you have nothing to replace it. I think what's been the game changer for us is that rental market, which I mentioned. You're not buying a 8,000 hour machine at auction. You're renting a 3,000 to 4,000 hour machine. You're really going to have the productivity and the uptime on those. And that's kind of the shortfall or the gap stopper there, having those rental possibilities when you can find them. So our strategy has kind of extended the useful life, going back to preventive maintenance and really taking care of our equipment that we do have, planning its end life to be when the new equipment's coming. And if it doesn't make it that long, it's filling in the gaps with rentals.
So could you expound a little bit, because a lot of guys are in the same boat. It's the real only solution that they've got at their disposal is, I have to make my existing fleet last longer. And that comes with a lot of strategizing. You can't just kind of one day magically decide, oh, we're just going to hold on to everything for an extra 2 or 3 years. Can you kind of talk us through some of the discussion you've had and some of the thought process you've followed to do that in a healthy way where we're not going to end up with a bunch of mechanical failures or get overwhelmed in maintenance costs here in another 2 to 3 years?
For sure. I think the key word there was outsourcing. You got to find out what you're good at. And that's you as an equipment department, you as a company. What is your core business? For me, it's working on specialty type equipment. Do I need mechanics and technicians to be the best dozer mechanic or the best excavator guy? No, I need the crane guys. I need the drill rig guys, the paving guys. That's our specialty, and that's how we make our bread and butter. So how do you fill that gap when you're keeping your dozers, excavators longer, and you want them to continue that high level of work at that age? You have to partner with the dealers. We've done a lot of preventive maintenance contracts with them on the hour, on a monthly basis. They'll come out there, change your oils. You know, they're the experts out there. In order to keep those guys on staff for us, it would take up a lot of time and resource that can be better spent as, again, in our core business. So if you look at outsourcing that, and on a volume basis, you're going to get better discounts than just one or, hey, can you call a guy and go out and change the oil in this, do a B service or something. If you're doing your whole fleet, now you're talking scalability, and the volume will definitely get you a little bit better pricing.
Great advice. My final question is for maybe some of these small to mid-sized companies that are getting ready over the next couple of years to step up into that next tier of kind of becoming a larger contractor. Any advice you can give to them on kind of overall fleet management, how to think about this, how to strategize and plan for the future?
But before we get into that, I want to take a second to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Chevron Lubricants. Protecting your diesel engine and its exhaust aftertreatment system has traditionally been seen as an either-or proposition when it comes to choosing the engine oil that's going to protect your system. And that's exactly why Chevron spent more than a decade of R&D work developing a no-compromise formulation. Now, I don't have to tell you why a clogged DPF is bad news, but here's the real kick in the pants. 90% of that ash clogging up your DPF and then upping your fuel and maintenance costs, it comes from your engine oil. You might be thinking, why don't they make an engine oil with less ash in it then? You'll be happy to learn that Chevron agrees with you. They've developed a new ultra-low ash diesel engine oil that is specifically designed to combat DPF ash clogging. Delo 600 ADF with OmniMax technology cuts sulfate ash by 60%, radically reducing the rate of DPF clogging and extending the DPF service life by 2.5 times. Before you had to choose between protecting your engine or your aftertreatment system. Now you don't. Delo 600 ADF with OmniMax technology. It's time to kick some ash.
Any advice you can give to them on kind of overall fleet management, how to think about this, how to strategize and plan for the future?
For sure. Leaders come in all shapes and sizes, and finding one that really can communicate, someone that has the technical skills, but the leadership and communication side. It's a good mix. That Gen X is definitely where I'm kind of focused on right now, working with groups like AEMP and ACEM. We're really training the next level of leaders out there, because a lot of the older generations are retiring. So you've got to do all you can to be a sponge around them and then figure out how to train the next generation. So we're spending a lot of time and resources on those type of classes and trainings. On the technology side, we definitely want to make sure that everyone's using some type of telematics out there. There's so much that it offers, but yet how is it going to help you the most? You got to focus on preventive maintenance, getting the hours coming in, and then you want to check in on utilization, uptime, and then lastly, I like to focus on idle time. So find 1 to 2 things to focus on for telematics. Don't try to do all 20 things that it can do. If you focus on 1 to 2 per year, work with your provider, you're going to get those results a lot faster, and you're going to continue to grow and get payback on that investment.
And telematics is kind of an interesting little side conversation. I think for a lot of smaller contractors, but even at the mid-size, I think there's a lot of guys that kind of look at that screen and go, well, that's neat and nifty, but what am I supposed to do with this? Can you kind of give a little, don't necessarily give away the secret sauce, but can you kind of give us an idea of how you're thinking about that information other than, oh, that's a neat graph?
Yeah, again, I think it comes back to partnerships. You got to find a provider that's going to give you what you want and how it's going to fit your business model. And just because we're all in construction, we all have a little bit of a different business model, and no one does it the same, from the back end accountings to the front end operations. So when you pick that provider, you can't just say this is your box and make it work for you guys. You have to find someone willing to work with your company, and there's going to be some customization. You get to a size company like us, over $2 billion, we're doing a lot of customizing on our import, on the data, using Rivet along with our provider, tying that back into our accounting system just to make it work. And it's a daunting task. I think if you're a mid-level and up, you need to have one focused person, and that's all they do is telematics. They have to be the king or queen. A lot of times throughout my career, I've always tried to dabble in the telematics as a leader. You put it on the front stove, and before long, it's not even on the stove, let alone the back burner. There's always something that you got to be moving to. You really need that dedicated staff just to focus on that and integrating it in your everyday systems. I think some of the biggest pushes we've seen is, again, fixing the preventive maintenance side, getting the hour tracking, but then as soon as you can, pushing that information to the field. The operations side is so hungry for information on utilization, where their equipment's at, what's sitting and idling. I'm using 4 dozers and only 3 of them are working steady. Why do I have that 4th one out there? That type of information, getting it to the field and trying to customize it for them, you're going to see huge gains in the company.
Great advice. Thank you. Thank you for all of this. I think for a lot of people, the struggle when you kind of go from being the little guy to the mid-sized guy, you start to get into a lot of areas of technology and tracking, and you're getting much more analytical about parts of the business that you've not really had to be analytical in before. And I think that's pretty daunting to a lot of people.
For sure. And one of the groups that's helped me get to where I am is AEMP. It's Association of Equipment Managers. And we do a lot of classes, a lot of training, but I'll tell you the biggest part of it's the networking. You're sitting in a room with 200 to 300 other equipment managers. What else is there to do but have a beer with these guys? You're talking about what works, what doesn't work. No reason to repeat the wheel when it's already been made somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Just having that network in your back pocket. I actually had a call this afternoon with a guy up in Canada, a fellow equipment manager, just wanted to get 10 minutes of my time to ask a few questions on what I'm doing in a couple areas of the business, and always happy to share that knowledge with others.
Great advice. Well, Ernie, thank you again for the time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Pleasure, Brian.
Well, thank you again to Ernie for coming on the show and giving us a little insight as to how some of the big players in the market start to think about their equipment fleet as we deal with some of these kind of really unique factors that we haven't had to deal with for as far as I can remember in the industry. This is a very unique time. So hopefully this can help you in your business. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time on The Dirt.